Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is Letters to Blue. If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. I have been a medical coder for over 10 years. I have been getting lots of really good letters lately, and the show topic, right, is Letters to Blue. So I take some of these letters that I've gotten in and letters that I think are very interesting or would be a very good topic to talk about, and I put it all into one episode. So thank you to everybody who submitted their letter. If you would like to have your letter submitted, maybe you have a story to share or something, let me know. Comment below or shoot me an email, and maybe it'll be on the next episode of Letters to Blue. This was originally, like, the brainchild of it was supposed to be like, oh, it's just going to be like a once a month thing. It would be kind of cool to do. But lately, there's been so many really good ones coming in. I'm like, I can't resist. I got to go ahead and make an episode out of it. So I picked a few today, and let's go ahead and get started. Thank you to everybody who I'm reading your letter, and let's go. First one. After you received your CCA, the CCA, if you don't know, is a Certified Coding Associate, and that is with the American Health Information Management Association. How did you feel like going into the coding world? I'm thinking of getting the CPC, and I know it will be the CPCA until I get coding experience. Did you ever feel like you passed the exam, but you were not prepared for the learning curve in the coding work world? So my first job was at a cancer therapy center, right? So I had neoplasm coding. I was doing evaluation and management, and of course I was doing the diagnosis coding. And I did some procedure coding, but mostly it was evaluation and management and the diagnoses. So for me, did I feel ill prepared? I didn't. I knew that there was a lot of things I was going to have to learn, right? And I think when you go in with that sort of mindset, you sort of take it easy on yourself when you don't know things, right? And they didn't really teach us anything when I was there. They knew we were brand new. We did have one guy, he was a guy coder. He was really nice, a really nice guy. And he would answer our questions, but there wasn't a lot of like, oh, I'm going to be hands-on with you and I'm going to coach you through this. It was like if we had questions here and there. So there wasn't a lot of that. It wasn't a very cohesive environment to begin with. I mean, there was like cool people there, but when it came to the coding staff, they weren't really cohesive. So there was just a lot of that. It's okay because it still worked out anyway. I took that experience and went on to my next position. Anyway, I felt like in the first year that there was still a lot of things that I was learning, and I was okay with it because as long as I knew that I learned, right? And then if I kept reading, I was going to be okay. That's like sort of how I got through that part of like, if I just keep reading this and if I don't make the same mistake again, once I've been caught on a mistake, right? On an audit or whatever, then I knew I was going to be all right, because that's how you know that you're learning, is if you're not doing the same thing again. And then if you truly understand why the other person was correct, like your auditor, then it's even better, because then you really understand what's happening. So the more you get where you're understanding, the more confident you'll get. So that was what helped me to get through that time. To me, because I've always been a reader and a studier, it's natural for me to want to read and study more. And so it was never really an issue, I think, in the beginning. Did I get frustrated because there were some things that I didn't quite understand? Yes, but then I said, okay, well, let me go ahead and research this. And the more I researched, the better. You know, like they say, knowledge is power. Knowledge truly is power. When you really understand a lot of things, and when you're open to being curious about what else is going on, and what do these procedures mean, and what is the breakdown of this disease process, that's what makes things easier, when you take the time and the effort to put into doing all the other studying. And that's the whole thing about it. You know, you just have to be willing to buckle down on the times that you don't understand something and start asking questions. When I got to my second position that was hours away from my hometown, I had a wonderful coach at the time, and she's a very dear friend even still today. And she is like my coding hero. Anytime I get stuck on something, on anything when it comes to coding, she's my first call, because if I can't figure it out, I know that it's something's going on, or this is just really very difficult. So I try to limit who I ask for help as well. I always look at it like, if I'm going to ask somebody for help, they have to be equally as smart, or they have to be above, like they have to have more education than I do. That's how I look at it, because you always want to ask people that are more knowledgeable than you. You always want to strive for more, especially when it comes to knowledge in a knowledge base. And my friend, who is, like I said, she's my coding hero, she really did teach me. She taught me how to look up things and where to find other things. But sometimes it's just like you get on the fence and you're just like, I can't get off this fence, you know? I need help. So then that's when I will call her up and I'll tell her, look, I found this, this, and this. I think it's this, but it may be this. I don't know. And so she's like, well, let me see. So then she starts going through it and we talk it through together. And then we come to a resolution and I'm like, okay, that makes more sense. But yes, when you find those little ways of sort of helping you out, you know, whether it's looking up stuff or, you know, going to a colleague that you can trust, you know, that really does help to sort of ease that anxiety a little bit, especially in the beginning when you are starting out. And keep in mind, I had about 3 months of experience by the time I got to her. And I was being put in the hardest setting, which was the professional, the profi coding. So that nobody wanted. Nobody wanted it. And I was just like, I didn't know enough to be afraid of it, because I didn't know what it was. So I was just like, you just tell me what to do and I'll do it. I have no problem with it. So I learned it. And having that experience as a profi coder was what got me here to my position that I am in now, but I don't do profi coding anymore. I work in the orthopedic clinic and the podiatry clinic now. So I progressed, you know, within the system here. So, I mean, I'm totally fine with that, but I can still do profi coding. And I trained everybody that came in to do profi coding once I got here. And there was a shuffle. There was a coder shuffle going on. And since I had the most experience, I did do a lot of the training with the other coders. So that's, I mean, once you start learning something, it's really good to pass it on, because once you feel like you've mastered it and you share that sort of, you share a really good knowledge base, it's good to let your fellow coworkers know, as long as they're receptive, because sometimes they're not. So you will find that too in the real world, that sometimes when you're wanting to share information and you have all your information that you can show that this is why, this is this, sometimes people are not as receptive. And because they think that, like, maybe it's like, I don't know, if they feel like insulted or whatever. To me, you shouldn't feel insulted, you know, especially if somebody's trying to help you, you know, and you may not even know that you need help, right? So I look at those things. So you just have to sort of read the situation when you do find something out. But if you do find something out and your coworkers are willing to share this information, hey, by all means, go for it, because I think it makes for a more cohesive environment as well. Okay. Next letter. Hi, Blue. You are doing a sophisticated job. Aww. You are my inspiration for everyday practice. Thank you. I just finished school and I'm going out to the externship for the next 2 months. Before I joined the school, many people told me I could not find a job because of my age and because I don't have a relationship to get into a job. I did it no matter what they told me. Good for you. And it became my passion. I like coding activities in class and I am somewhat good at it. My instructor said that a new grad rarely gets hired with a coding job, and my school always sends us to externships to mostly do billing stuff. But you inspire me. I am planning to get the CCA next year. Thank you. Aww. Thank you so much for your sweet words. I really appreciate that. Wow, that's a lot of adversity that you're overcoming. So I want to say first that honestly, you're awesome. I mean, you're literally a rock star, because you are taking all of this negativity and you're making it into a positive. You're taking that and it's pushing you to continue to do your goals. And you're not being afraid. You're not being scared off from what it is that you want to do. So I applaud you. I think that is really great. Thank you for not letting your age get in the way either, because I know people in their 60s, and I do have a viewer in their 70s that is already starting with this. And so if they can do it, anybody can do it. And a lady, when I first went to school, she was in her 60s. She got her coding credential at age 61. And she's gone on to be a coder. She's still a coder today. And she survived the ICD-10 changeover. So it is possible to have a second or third career in your lifetime and still be rocking it, at an older age. To me, your mind is going to be your best indicator of what you can do, right? And that's the thing that's going to be able to say, I'm spry and I could still get through all of these things and I'm sharp. So if you can do it, go for it, because there's no limit. There's no limit to this career field. So I'm just saying. But I will say this, gosh, for your instructor to say that the new grad rarely gets a coding job, I have many viewers who are brand new to the medical coding field, no previous experience. We're in the middle of a pandemic and they still have jobs. They still got jobs. They got their first job in the middle of a pandemic. So I don't know if this instructor said it to sort of lower the expectation so that if people don't get a job in medical coding right away, they aren't disappointed, which could possibly be why they did it. However, I think there's there's other ways of saying things, like that they rarely get it. No, you can say other alternative words like it's a challenge, but it's not a challenge that is impossible. Is it a challenge to get a job as a brand new medical coder? Of course it is. I don't know why. I wish I knew why. Because to me, if I was a hiring person, I would immediately hire somebody that's brand new, because they're brand new. And that is the best mind to be able to mold, because you're going to be able to teach that person how to do critical thinking and how to really look and dive into these records. And they have no prior bad habits, right? Not that all veteran medical coders have bad habits, but it does come with the territory, right? You get on a groove of doing things a particular way, and then all of a sudden you have to sort of change if something changes. So sometimes for veteran coders, it's a little hard for us, right? But it's not impossible. Anyway, but with brand new medical coders, to teach somebody that's brand new or to be around somebody that's brand new is really a good thing, because you can teach them from the ground up, right? How to do that critical thinking. And sometimes with veteran coders, if they haven't had a chance to be taught how to do the critical thinking, that's where it's just like, it's when you develop those habits, that's where it's like a little bit of a challenge, but not impossible to change, right? But yes, just keep looking. And again, you are doing so wonderful by disregarding the naysayers and doing what you want to do. Good for you. And I wish you the best on your journey. I know that you're going to have a fun time once you do start doing the coding, because coding is fun. I mean, I love it, And as I have said several times, I have originally said from way back in the day, since I started my channel, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. So I'm just saying, you heard it here first. Anyway, next letter. Hi. I'm a 56-year-old student, and I needed to hear this video. Since I've never been an avid reader, are you saying that won't/can't change? You mentioned in another video that it helps greatly if you like words, learning words, etc. Well, that's me, but the reading part is not me. But I have been enrolled in the AAPC certification course for over a year now. As is my nature, I've been dragging my feet to get to the finish line. And thank you for saying this too. It is really hard when you're the only one in your household taking the course and there's no interaction with anyone. You also mentioned that you should be detail-oriented, etc. I'm not so much that, but having said that, I hope your crystal ball says that I'm still a candidate to become a medical coder. By the way, I spent my entire tax refund check to purchase the AAPC program. Oh, also something else about me. I've been employed in the airline industry for 35 years. Medical coding sounded like a good segue into retirement. Plus, I am desperate to stimulate my brain and to not continue into retirement serving drinks at 38,000 feet. I will start by saying this. You can do whatever it is that you set your mind to, okay? The information and the stories and everything that I share here is hopefully to help you to become a high caliber medical coder. There are medical coders, and then there are high caliber medical coders. High caliber medical coders are the ones that are after the details. They are the ones that dig. They are the ones that continuously learn. They are the ones that push themselves to learn so that they can push others to learn more and make the whole environment better. That is what I talk about on my channel. So a lot of the things that I say is for those top-notch, high-caliber medical coders. Detail-oriented is number one. That is a staple in medical coding. And reading comprehension and being an avid reader is key to this. That is 90% of what we do is read. Literally from start to finish in your day, you're reading. You're reading these charts, you're comprehending what you're reading, you're looking at medical terms and medical terminology, you're doing all of these things. This is not negotiable. There is no one that does this that is not having to read all day long. That is what we do. If you don't like to read, this is going to be a challenge, right? If you want to be a medical coder, you can do anything that you want to do. There may be parts of the career that you don't like, but that's with any field, right? That's with anything. You know, you're never going to truly like 100% of what you're doing. For me, is there things that annoy me about medical coding? Of course. Of course. I don't like it when my providers fight me after I've been telling them why I need information, particular information, like how the patient injured themselves or what the data injury was. I don't like it when they fight me on this stuff because this is stuff that needs to be in there. There is no excuse for this information not to be in there. And why I need laterality, left or right. Now that's annoying. Like really, like just tell me, was this done on the left or was it done on the right? You know, and it's just like, I just need it to be in there. That's annoying to me. But it's these minor little annoyances that don't really bother me at the end of the day in the grand scheme of things. Meetings, annoying meetings, like that are like team meetings and stuff like that really could have been handled by an email. That annoys me. But I still go to it. I still do it because it's just part of the job. That's the job part. That's not the career part. That's the job part, you know. Do I like putting together my workload report at the end of the day? No, because I think it's annoying. Because if they truly needed to know how many records I coded, they can run a report all day long and see how many records I coded and how long was I on the record and what did I touch and what did I do? What did I change? They can run that kind of report. That's the annoying part to me, right? Those little things. But when it comes to the coding, it comes to the reading, that's part of the territory. And you should know that that's 90% of the territory, okay? So if it's going to bother you, you should just know that. But it's not a bad way to go into retirement, right? Because you can still stimulate your mind, you can still be around people, you can still do all of those things. And so going from being a flight attendant to, an office job, is really great. I mean, I think it's great. People have asked me before if I ever plan to retire. No. I mean, honestly, I don't think so. I think I will still work as long as I can, as long as the good Lord will let me work, I will still continue to work, because I really love what I do. And even if it's not in a actively coding capacity, it'll probably be in teaching something, you know what I'm saying? So I will always have my finger on the pulse of this industry. I will always do that. And so I think that that's really awesome because I love what I do. you know, and like I said, I can deal with these little minor minor things. It doesn't, and at the end of the day, those are just minor compared to the joy that I get out of it. And what is the joy that I get out of it? Oh gosh, when I learn something, or when I finally get a grasp on some disease process, right? I am so happy. You should see me. I'm like, ooh. When I see a provider that I have struggled with document so good, and I see them and they even select the most specific diagnosis, I think, oh, it's like seeing gold, right? It is so fulfilling as a coder to see that. When I hear that their RVUs go from before I had them to now I have them, and it's just like, oh, I'm so excited about that. We had a physician champion, right? A physician champion is a physician who can speak coder, right? Who is literally sometimes a coder, and then they can speak to other providers, the coder part. So that, you know, they have that same kind of talk, right? The communication. So this physician champion was he was a coordinator for ICD-10 somebody's lawnmower, somebody's little fast car. I can say that because I drive a fast car. Anyway, it sounds like a lawnmower. Theirs does. You know, mine growls, okay? Sasha, my Sasha. That's the name of my car. Anyway, back to what I was saying. This physician champion came in around the time the ICD-10 came out. So they said, well, we need somebody to speak coder to these providers. And so I went to this meeting because I got to sit in on the meeting. And as he was speaking, and he was saying about with all of these things, all these details that need to be there, he is literally speaking to them and telling them, hey guys, this is what I need you to do. And so this is why the coders need this. And so then it's just like, they're like, oh, okay. But, you know, it's when he was speaking, right? Which is where my train of thought. So as he was speaking, this same physician champion had gone around and he did this twice. So he did it at the beginning of the year, and then he did it at the end of the year. So at the beginning of the year, he was telling all of them what needed to be there. Make sure, guys, make sure you're documenting like you need to, and all this and all that. We're going to check on you at the end of the year. When he checked on every single facility, because we're in a large group of hospitals, he checked on every single facility. We were the #1 facility for ortho and podiatry. Boom. Our department shined, and he said that he actually used our facility as the model, and he showed everybody what the difference was from before to after. Now, you want to talk about elated. Like, I was so happy. I was sitting there in the meeting, and I'm sitting there grinning like a Cheshire cat because this was effort. This was work. This was like, okay, we're getting into this ICD-10 stuff, and we are really having to dig down and get into the trenches. And they did it. We all did it together. And so that was a extremely elated moment for me. And that is one of the moments that I will always treasure as a coder, because we all did it together. And then to be the #1 facility in this group of hospitals was really awesome for our department. So that was really amazing, and I will never forget that. But, you know, you get those moments, and luckily I've had those moments, and hopefully I'll have even more. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up my video for tonight, but thank you guys for joining me for Letters to Blue.